Hello, the student of class 10. Today we will read the English from the book of First Images, lesson number 8, the open window. Let's open your book and see. Let's read. This is the story of a tragedy and madness revolving around a girl. Now, let's read the lesson. My aunt will be down presently, Mr. Nuttall said, a self-possessed young lady of 15. I am. The meantime, you must try and put up with me. Frampton Nuttall endeavored to say the correct something which should duly flatter the nice without unduly discounting the aunt, and that was to come. This is the main theme of this story is Mr. Nuttall Frampton was a lady whose his husband and brother and a dog went to pray from that window and never came to back, and she always betted him and opened the window because they will return from that window. Now, privately, he doubted more than ever whether these formal visits on a succession to total stranger would do much towards helping the nerve cure which he was supposed to be undergoing. I know how it will be, his sister had said when he was preparing to migrate to this rural retreat. You will bury yourself down. Bury. Here, white. Here, hide. Yourself down there and not speak to a living soul, and your nerves will be worse than ever from moping. I shall just give you letters of introduction to all the people I know. There's some of them, as far as I can remember, they are quiet. Frampton wondered whether Mrs. Templeton, Mr. Frampton was the sick person, and his doctor said to him, go to the hillside, and his friend said, I can give you a letter. Mrs. Templeton lived there. Mrs. Templeton's husband and brothers and dog, before I have told to you, went to the prey and never returned. So she was waiting continuously, opening the window. The lady to whom he was presenting one of the letters of the introduction came into the nice division. Do you know, many of people round here asked the niece when she judged that they had his sufficient silent communion. Hardly a soul, said Frampton. My sister was staying here at a rectory, some 4 years ago, and gave me letters of introduction to some of the people here. He made the last statement in a tone of distinct regret. Then practical, nothing about my aunt, pursued the self-possessed young lady. Only her name and address admitted the caller. He was wondering whether Mrs. Templeton was in the married or widow state. An undefinable something about the room seemed to suggest masculine habitation. Mr. Frampton Nuttall thought about this Mrs. Templeton. Mrs. Templeton, she was till now married or in the state of widowed. Her great tragedy happened just 3 years ago, said the child. That would be since your sister's time. Her tragedy? Asked Frampton. Somehow, in the restful country, spot tragedies seems out of place. You may wonder why we keep that window wide open on an October afternoon, said the nurse, indicating a large French window that opened onto a lawn. It is quite warm for the time of the year, said Frampton, but has that window got anything to do with the tragedy? Our throw out through that window 3 years ago to a day her husband and her two young brothers went off for their day's shooting and they never came back in crossing the moor, in the crossing the moor. Tract tract of open rolling land in the favorite snipe shooting ground. They were all three engulfed in a treacherous piece of bog. It had been that dreadful wet summer, and places that were safe in other years gave when suddenly, without warning, their bodies were never recovered. That was the dreadful part of it. Here the child's voice lost its self-possessed note and became falteringly human. Poor aunt always thinks that they will come back someday. They and the little brown spaniel that was lost when them and walked in that window just as they used to do. That is why the windows is kept open every evening till it is quite dusk. Poor dear aunt, she has often told me how they went out, her husband with his white waterproof coat over his arm and Ronnie, her youngest brother, singing Bertie, why do you, why do you bound as he always did to tease her because she said it got on her nerves. Did you know sometimes on still quiet evenings like this, I almost get a creepy feeling that they will all walk in through that window. The little girl denoted to Mr. Frampton that Mr. Simpleton betted her husband and two younger brothers with a spaniel dog. They will come back. Sure, they will come back. So she always opened the window till the dusk, till the evening. She broke up with a little shudder. It was a relief to Frampton when the aunt busted into the room with a whirl of apologies for being late in making her appearance. I hope Vera has been amusing you, she said. She has been very interesting, said Frampton. I hope you don't mind the open window, said Mrs. Simpleton briskly. My husband and brothers will be home directly from shooting and they always came in this way. They have been out for snipe in the marshes today, so they will make a fine mess over my poor carpet. So I like you men folk, isn't it? Mrs. Simpleton said to Mr. Frampton that if you don't mind the window will always be open because my husband and two brothers will come back from this window. She rattled on the cheerful about the shooting and the scarcity of the birds and the prospect for duck in the winter. To Frampton it was all purely horrible. He made a desperate but only partially successful effort to turn the talk on to a less ghastly topic. He was conscious that hostess was giving him only a pregnant offer of attention, and her eyes were constantly straying, straying past him to the open window and the lawn beyond it. It was certainly an unfortunate coincidence that he should have paid his visit on his tragic anniversary. The doctors agree in ordering me complete rest in absence of mental excitement and avoidance of anything in the nature of violent physical exercise, announced Frampton, who is labored under the tolerably widespread delusion that total strangers and chance acquaintances are hungry for the least detail of one's ailment and infirmity is their cause and cure. On the matter of diet, they are not so much in agreement, he continued. No, said Mrs. Templeton, in a voice which only replaced a yawn at the last moment. Then she suddenly brightened into alert attention, but not to what Frampton was saying. Here, they are at last, she cried, just in time party, and don't they look as if they were muddy up in the eyes. Frampton shivered slightly and turned towards the knees with a look attention to convey sympathetic comprehension. The child was staring, and though the open window with a dazed horror in her eyes, in a chill shock of nameless fear, Mr. Frampton feared with the ghost because he thought that they will never come, and maybe they became the ghost and came from this window. Frampton swung round in the seat and looked in the same direction. In the deepening twilight. Three figures were walking across the lawn towards the window. They all carried guns under their arms, and one of them was additionally burdened with a white coat huge over his shoulders. A tired brown spaniel kept close at their heels. Noiselessly they neared the house, and then a hoarse young voice chanted out of the dusk. I said, Bertie, do you wound at in the evening when the two lights become Mr. Frampton saw the three figures coming too near to the window, and they made a hoarse voice. Frampton grabbed wildly at his stick and had the hall door and the gravel drive and the front gate were Dini noted stages in his headlong retreat. A cyclist coming along the road had to run into the hedge of avoid imminent collision. Here we are, my dear, said the wearer of the white boat is coming through the window, very muddy, but most it's dry. Who was that who bolted out as we came up? A most extraordinary man, Mr. Nuttall, said Mrs. Templeton, could only talk about his illness and dashed off without a word of goodbye or apology like a prisoner on the run. One would think he had seen a ghost. I expect it was the spaniel, said the nurse calmly. He told me he had a horror of dogs. He was once hunted into a cemetery somewhere on the banks of the Ganges by a pack of parlous dogs and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with the creatures snarling and grinning and foaming just above him enough to make anyone lose their nerves. Romance at thought notice was her, especially Mrs. Templeton told that person, maybe the Mr. Frampton had feared from the dog because once in a cemetery they there in the banks of the Ganges by a pack of the dogs and had to spend the night in a newly dug grave with and all the dogs snarling and grinding and foaming around Mr. Frampton. Now, your lesson, see the consolidate questions. Question number 1. Why had Mr. Nuttall come down to the rural retreat? Mr. Nuttall had come down to the rural retreat because he was sick and his doctor said to him to go the rural retreat for complete mental rest. Question number 2. What help did his sister extend to him? His sister helped extend to him, giving him a letter of introduction to all the pupils. Question number 3. According to the Vera, what tragedy had befallen Mrs. Templeton 3 years ago? Write in your own words. According to Vera, the tragedy had befallen Mrs. Templeton 3 years ago. Her husband and 2 brothers went for the prey and never come back. Question number 4. What explanation did Mrs. Templeton offer for the open window when she met Mr. Nuttall? When she met Mr. Nuttall, Mrs. Templeton offered, I hope you don't mind the open window because my husband and brothers will come back from the shooting. Question number 5. What topic did Mr. Nuttall's conversation center on? The topic was Mr. Nuttall's conversation centered on Mrs. Templeton's husband and 2 brothers and open window. Now, question number A2 का first, second and third MCQs you have to do as your homework. Now, pause the video and write in your notebook. Your lesson has completed.